Hello, Fightful Faithful, all 100,000 of you, because I'm pretty sure how that works. Once we get to 100,000 subscriptions, all 100,000 of you are forced to watch every show. So,
Nailed it.
welcome. There's a lot of you, extra of you here who don't normally watch on Tuesdays. This is not your normal show. Kate?
That is correct. This is your NXT Sour Grabs post show / we usually call it a variety hour at this point. Get in your super chats and your humper chats. What on earth is a humper chat, one might ask? Well, if you go to humperchats.com, it functions just like a super chat, but we get to keep a little bit more of the money. We get to keep a little bit bigger of a piece of the pie. We also encourage you to watch at twitch.tv / Fightful Gaming if you're into the Twitch scene and to show us your biddies and a couple of other things. I'm going to ask you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com because boy, oh boy, is there never a lack of CM Punk drama in this world. Or any other wrestling drama, really. But we will also ask you to leave a thumbs up on this video. It helps people find us in the algorithm when you do that. And if you haven't subscribed, I guess you don't want to be really cool and popular because 100,000 other people have subscribed to this very YouTube channel. And I got to say, it coincided with my 2-year anniversary at Fightful. I'm not saying I'm why.
Right. No,
but there's a correlation there, okay? 2 years at Fightful, we hit the 100,000 mark. But what was really cool about it, if you missed it yesterday, I'm going to do this again because Alex just loves getting compliments and praise on stream. They send those silver play button things from YouTube, and Alex is going to get one because, much like the Usos, he's been down since day one at Fightful. The only other one than Sean to stick around for the entirety of it. So we have certainly carved out our wonderfully weird little niche here. And I mean, it wasn't until this summer that Alex literally took any time off from the time that I had started. So that means that had happened even beforehand. It was his last break. Extremely hardworking, extremely insightful, always brings an incredible amount of enthusiasm for good or for bad. And it is an honor and a privilege to be your co-pilot in such a crazy thing. Matthew hooks right away saying, if you don't subscribe, you don't support women. So let me just hop on that agenda real quick. I famously am a woman, Alex. I am. I'm a gal.
Big if true. Big if true.
Big if true. I am a gal. I am a woman, and I am on this show, and I am on this YouTube channel. So if you don't subscribe, you don't support me, a woman, which means you don't support women, which means you don't think I deserve the right to vote if you don't subscribe to this YouTube channel.
It's true.
And leave a thumbs up on this video. And I'm also on Fightful Select. So basically, if you don't give us $5 a month, you hate women. That's the only logical conclusion.
Yes.
That
also, yes, very true.
That one can draw. But we've got your NXT review tonight. Last week was, I would say, like a pretty strong show. This was a little topsy-turvy, Alex. This had highs and lows.
It did. Yeah, next week is Heat Wave.
It is. This is a go home to not
no, it's a go home to a named episode.
It is.
It's
this could be like this is the go home to Sour Graps for the 22nd. Can we just make all of our shows go homes to make them sound really important?
Yes.
Every one of them ends with a melee. Like me and Alex are just brawling.
Yeah. We wanted to do something to celebrate the 100,000 subscribers on YouTube for puns. But I don't know how to do that. 100 puns about 100 or large numbers or 1,000, 100,000 YouTube puns. I don't know. Just pun.
Subscription puns.
Say just pun. Just say a pun. We'll read it and we'll figure it out. So you know what? Joker's wild. Joker's wild. Whatever puns you want to put out there within reason, we'll read on the air. I don't know. Sure, puns.
Centennial puns. I like that.
And heat puns. Things that are hot.
If you send in puns
next week. Next week will because for heat wave and also waves. Heat puns and wave puns next week. This week, Joker's wild.
I'm in.
There you go. But yes, if you'd like to do 100 puns, that'd be nice, and YouTube puns would be good. So JW Pringle says, amazing Alex, Kate the Great, Papa Paul, Elizabeth, Wizard of Retirement, Sisters, Alpha Bill, Jam Beard, Jake from State Farm, Louise, and all the SGS. Happy National Relaxation Day. Is it really National Relaxation Day?
In whose world, buddy?
See how much Alex hates compliments. So here's another one. Congrats on 100K and the award. Sir, SGS is why I'm a select member.
We love that.
That's good.
Tell Sean that all the time.
Paul Elizabeth says, happy Tuesday night to the super team, super mod, super council, super sisters, and JW Pringle from State Farm.
Was I included in that? Did I miss it?
We're a super team. Super team.
Or a super team. Okay.
Yeah, super team.
I forgot to text my dad back, so I didn't know if he was holding that against me.
There you go. Jake Neal starts this off with the million subscriber man, Ted DiBiase. See?
We don't even have to give you direction anymore, and you guys just know exactly where to go with these things. You get it.
Great. Yeah. True Infamous with some bittersweet news. True Infamous says that yesterday he got fired from Pepsi.
Oh.
Do you know why?
Yes, but only because I have the super chat document open.
Because he tested positive for Coke.
But
see, that's what I love. Just good. You know what? Give us your jokes. Tell us all your jokes. Yeah, tell us
if you send us money to say stuff, we're gonna read it.
Send us money, so we will read your jokes on the air. I mean,
and because
within
you
reason.
Support women. Yeah.
Yes, for that reason. Henry the Casey says, "Hello, Alex and Kate. Happy Wednesday." And was
if you're in New Zealand,
or was that a good NXT?
It was up and down.
Parts of it were good. Parts of it were inexplicable, but that's just me.
No, it's not just you. There were things that could not be explained in tonight's NXT. I ain't advocate over winning things.
Yeah.
I used to read CM Punk's live journal when I couldn't handle how inexplicable things were. But now I'm just going to talk about the G1 in those moments. So I'm just going to keep dining out on that until you get sick of it.
Matthew Plus says the only thing worse on TV than NXT is sour graps, and Luis says that's a lie. So,
like, folks, where's the lie? It's with Matthew Plus. Nailed it.
The gold play button standard, Shelton Benjamin.
See, you guys are so good to us.
That's great. And Coy Stalling says poor Yankees going to get swept again.
Yeah, they're a really expensive, terrible team, huh?
Yeah,
like
that
how do you spend so much money and be that bad?
I don't know. That'll be a good one. Jake Neal, thank you for that one. I'm going to read that later and have a lot of fun. Tom Valley asks, how can it be a go-home show when I'm already home?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I watch most go-home shows at home. And they're not usually going home. They're going to a different town.
Chris says, why does WWE keep saying NXT is developmental? If they're going to keep bringing main roster guys and girls down here just to boost ratings, that does not make sense. It is a weird thing that they're doing. It's working, so they're going to keep doing it. They're getting decent ratings now. We'll see. I mean, well, listen, better than they have been.
Oh no, I just mean also like Fox has kind of come out and said that they're not going to renew things. So making USA really happy might not be the worst idea in the
That's
world
also
right
true.
now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. Luis says, pretty expensive, terrible team. That explains my soccer team, Chelsea, to a T. That's what Luis says.
Yes, I know so many things about soccer.
Yes. I know across the pond, they don't call it soccer. They call it handball. No, is that not true?
I don't think that's
okay. The D'Angelos faced the Dyad to start off with. God, GYV is a great tag team.
Yeah, they are.
I was watching them and I was like, geez, these guys work so well together. Wouldn't it be great if they could go somewhere where they didn't have to have a terrible gimmick to be on TV?
Yeah.
We look forward to that day. But D'Angelo's got a great hot tag for as long as he and Stax remain champions and also a team, because Lord knows usually those don't last very long. It'll be a lot of fun to watch Stax be the face in peril, doing fun like Stax stuff. He's really good at selling, and then you get Tony D'Angelo comes in and just throws people everywhere. That's fun, that'll work out.
It's good to have like a guy heaving people around. Stax took some nasty bumps in this too. Woo! Very fun to start off this way too. Like this is a fun way to get the crowd. But the crowd was kind of dead tonight, honestly. Like even for the floor, I don't know if it was the way they were mic'd or what it was, but I was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. Like they didn't get a reaction, and then it was just kind of like that all night. Like it was just an off night for crowd reactions. But I like that kicking off the show. That's a fun, they're such a fun team, and it's such a fun program to like get that going.
This is the thing is that Booker T was especially awful tonight, but then like Vic Joseph had his moments of being terrible too. That's not his fault. They told him to say stuff like, the Schism is obsessed with finding a team that isn't even here anymore. They've left NXT. They're not even here. When we all know, of course they are. And they didn't actually record that green screen thing while on vacation. They recorded it in the AV room in the performance center. So we all know that they're actually here. And when having your objective truth teller commentator like just straight up go, oh, well, they're not even here, that's ridiculous. Well, we know that they are, and so it's kind of weird that they would have him do that. Because also proving that they are here, obviously the Creeds, but wearing masks, come out of the crowd and attack the Dyad while the rest of Schism has to block Ivy Nile, who I will remind you is 3'8" tall and is in no danger of attacking anyone. But they have to go and put their attention towards her so that the Creeds can come out and attack the Dyad. Now, it would be one thing if we eventually found out that Ivy Nile has known they weren't here that they were still here the entire time. But as far as you have presented to us, Ivy Nile believes that the Creeds have gone away and left her behind and didn't even bother to leave a note. So it's not like they had a big plan where you go and distract them and we'll jump the railing, being obviously ourselves, but in masks. And we'll attack the Dyad, and then Vic Joseph and Booker T will go, who are these guys? Like they're friggin' 4. Is that the plan?
Okay, so Vic Joseph deserves his commentating, whatever he makes, and also a babysitting fee for what he has to do with Booker T.
Yep.
Ridiculous tonight. I think my dad could do better on commentary just from watching our post show and not watching NXT. I really do, because he's a coherent, intelligent person. Like it. We'll talk about it later, but what he was doing with the Heritage Cup stuff, I was like, you don't even know which guy has the fake one. Like, I'll say this: if there's a loser goes on vacation for a little bit match, I'm gonna be trying to lose all the time. Like that just seems like a great deal. Like loser leaves town to go on a holiday. Sounds great to me. I would be throwing matches constantly. This whole thing it's so bad, and I just keep going back to the fact that like it's made so much worse by the fact that the Creed should be on the main roster. Now I want to see the Creeds in GYV for the rest of my life. But this is not the way to do it. And I was thinking about this earlier. It just makes the Schism look so stupid in the process.
It really does.
It's bad creative, and it also makes this cult look really dumb. And it's like hard to buy into cult stuff as is, like because it's a cult and a wrestling show. But like Joe Gacy's pretty good at getting me to try and make these leaps with him, and they had figured out some stuff creatively of like making the dissension start to work, and I still didn't like it, but it was starting to make more sense in a wrestling fundamental way. This just makes them look so stupid. Like, oh, they really believed they were on vacation whilst they were in front of a green screen, not agreeing where they even were on vacation with each other. Like, it just makes them look so dumb, especially when they've been the ones standing around. Like, man. So it's kind of a bummer because it's like, I don't like the Schism. It's not for me, but I want the people it's for to have something logical to enjoy. And this is just not that. Not even a little bit, Alex.
Nope, it's not. The tag champs wrestled and defended their titles tonight. And the women's champ had a little video package thing, and will be at Heatwave. So Heatwave we'll talk about is like a couple of title matches, and then a bunch of like just other stuff. Heatwave doesn't feel very hot to me because
it does feel wavy though, because it's like, oh, some title matches, and then it just goes.
Yep, it does feel like that. That's true. Hey, somebody named Steeler75 on Twitch says, "Hi, chat. Does Alex and Kate look at Twitch chat?" Yes, it comes up right where all the YouTube stuff. I can see it as well. We don't necessarily read all the regular chats. We do if something is sent in with in your case bits. Then we will read those things. Yes, again, hashtag show us your biddies. Yep. So yes, but yes, we can see the chats. We can see them. So there you go. This is good. Ryan Sullivan says, "And I would subscribe 50,000 times, and I would subscribe 50,000 more just to be the man who subscribed 100,000 times to hand Alex that button." He says this works if you want it to work, and then CO says and then Jada Pringle says
I think my favorite part of that is the directionals to Luis. Like, this is how they should be listed.
Yes. And he's done it. He's done it right, of course.
Yeah, of course he is, because he's the GOAT. But thank you, Ryan, for that chat. And I will say, even as a kid, I was like, this guy should just take a plane if he's going 100,000 miles.
Yep.
Like, why are you walking? That seems foolish. You're gonna die before you ever get there.
Yeah, it's true.
Idiot.
Yeah. Also, Luis reminding us that Ivy Nile would take out all the faceless Gacy devotees, just one after the other, like that one shot in Old Boy, just murking fools left and right. That'd be, yes, she would.
But not the ones that are obviously the Creeds, because she would
not those. It. No. Yeah, no. Eddie Thorpe.
He's really good.
Showing us that he will find his bruja. which I believe is a native word of some kind. I believe in Spanish actually bruja is witch, but I don't know that he's finding his witch unless he's finding Alba Fire and
I was just gonna say,
in which case that'd be great.
Yeah.
But my the closed captions on my stream said boo ha, like BOO space HA, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not what he said.
That's not.
So, but he's trying to find his fighting spirit so he can take on Dijak. He had a match with Dijak, and Dijak beat him. Did Dijak cheat? I don't remember Dijak cheating.
I don't think so.
So the way you get back your fighting spirit in a code of honor that feels kind of, I don't know,
honor is real.
Kind of like that, you know, like. Wait, hold on. Yes. Yeah.
Code of honor.
It doesn't feel like what he ends up doing later in the night fits in that whole manner. Just like,
correct.
You know, if he was going to like, okay, here's my honor, you would approach him after he had won or lost the match and say, I would like a rematch with you because I do believe that I can beat you. As opposed to doing what he did, which is deliberately distract him from his match, which feels less honorable to me. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, that feels like he's a clearly defined face. But I guess, I mean, who's more of a face than Cody Rhodes? And he just cheated. So
yes, that's true. He yes, no, it's true. Turnabout's fair play.
He learned from the main roster. He's really good though. Like I really like he's kind of settling into this wacky little world of NXT pretty well, and I like what him and Dijak are building out. Like they've got really good chemistry in the ring together.
Yes, no, it'll be good. Speaking of things that are not good, Chase U. I have less invested in this than even normal. They have decided to take the character that was working in this whole thing because of her commitment to the bit and drastically change the bit. It was working. And I would say if you wanted to say, if you gave it another 6 months and then it wasn't working anymore, that'd be a great time to change the bit. But it was a bit that was working, and you decided to change it to a point where, like, does anybody enjoy the moody teenager as a character, like in film or television? I suppose. Brooding, perhaps. Brooding skateboard with half of his face painted because I'm more dead than alive, whatever. That's a different thing. Just like, I don't like you, Dad. You ruined my life, Dad. Get away from me, Dad. Does anybody like that character? Like if you see that character portrayed, that stock character portrayed on television or in a film, you're like, you know what? I like that character. So introducing that character where that character doesn't really have a function outside of you inventing a thing for her to do. It's just no. Is all I'm going to say with this is just it just feels like no.
As a moody 14-year-old once, I find her alarmingly relatable. No,
well,
here's the thing. Whilst working, it was completely one note, and they did bring Harlem Bravado back, or Mr. Chase, and they had to do something. Mm-hmm. To me, part of this falling apart is like Duke Hudson's just had nothing to do with anything, and it seemed like the dissension was between the two of them,
right? And
now it's shifted so far away from that like
here's
I feel
what Duke
like
Hudson does. He carries the trophy and he goes, "I'll go talk to her." He's literally the middle child in this thing. Is that he's the peacekeeper. But they never actually get to see the scene where he goes and talks to Thea about it. We don't even get that scene with like the slow music is playing and they sit on a bed and they talk about like what they've learned this week.
Tanner.
We don't even get that scene. So like, I don't know what any of this is. It's just
it pivoted without any creative work of Duke Hudson and Mr. Chase. Kind of it felt like the story was headed toward controlling stake of Chase University. Like everything was going really well while Mr. Chase was out and it was at the helm of Duke Hudson. And it's still kind of there because since he's come back, things have gone awry, right? But it shifted so much towards the Hale that like the thing it was building toward or felt like it was building toward feels lost to me. So while you've never been in on it, like I was kind of starting to get in on it because Duke Hudson's really good at what he does. And it was starting to make wrestling sense, which I'll always give credit to. But now it's like they kind of pivoted too far away from the thing that I liked about it. So I appreciate that they're trying to build something more than like, hi, I'm extremely enthusiastic and hyper all the time. Like, it is nice to see her do something different, but something different that resonated more would be much better.
The thing about this is that she doesn't like Andre Chase because he threw in the towel, and later during her actual match, Booker T, when you are doing stuff with your creative that causes me to go, Booker T has a point there. You're doing bad stuff. There's an issue because what he says is that they were in a submission match. It was not his place to throw in the towel. You know, like that wasn't that she either submits or her leg gets broken or whatever is that. Like that's her spot.
Submission or referee stoppage. For it. Yeah.
That wasn't his spot to do it. So yes, of course she's upset with him. And yeah, I get it. I do
have to acknowledge in the chat. Lord Kev is asking about my Kardashian impression and how much money it takes to have it.
Never do it. For you to never do it is what.
For me to never do it, that's $0. I would be happy to not ever let the world know I can do a Kardashian impression ever again.
But you have been actively holding out on us saying you only have one impression when in fact you have two. And if you have two, you have more. They're in there somewhere. You are a born impressionist, and you need to get out there and impress.
I am your young lioness in this regard.
That's right.
I do owe an apology. The issue is I do have more impressions, but they are only done in the style of actual karaoke and not bit karaoke, and that I can do a pretty mean Alanis Morissette.
Wow.
And that might be it. It might cap out at those three.
Fantastic.
Sheila is not an impression.
No, but it is a character. And so many of my things that I do are more characters than they are actual impressions.
Your Gunther is spot on.
It's true.
A
lot of just like listening to his interviews and then running it back and trying to mimic it into a tape recorder and then playing it back to myself, playing him talking, pause, playing me talking as him, pause, playing them both together till they sound exactly the same. And that's how you get, I am Gunther.
It's only now that I realized your Ludwig Kaiser's actually pretty accurate, I feel like. And your Giovanni Vinci and Gunther are nowhere.
Yeah. See? That's the secret sauce.
It's beautiful. I like it.
So Blair Davenport beat Dana Brooke because Kelani Jordan wouldn't let Dana Brooke hit Blair Davenport with the ring bell after Dana Brooke had several instances of just screaming in the ring after Blair kicked out. She would just scream and rend her face with her nails and scream some more at the ref. And because, don't you understand, Dana Brooke went to a dark place And that dark place is the timekeeper's area where they keep the ring bell. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit her with it. So yeah, that was, no.
I was so distracted. This is just a Kate problem. Her tights being a different color than the rest of her body.
It was weird.
It looked like her legs had been to the tanning salon and the rest of her body had not. I was so distracted by that. That's just a me problem. That's not anything to do with the match. What is this Dana Brooke comeback campaign? Because she is mostly lost and been made to look like an idiot. I don't understand it. Not everybody needs to go to like a dark place to, like Roxanne, Cora, like everybody's all the gals have to get like in
so
a dark place. This is what I love about Blair Davenport. She's like, I operate exclusively from a dark place and I'm gonna kick your ass. She's so good, man. Like she's just ridiculously good at this. I really, really like watching her in ring work, and this character is so perfect for her. Like she's just come back from being out and slid into this role so perfectly. But this Dana story just feels like a big old mess. Like it's such a waste of any of the time you had with her on the main roster to make her come down here and lose, and then to have your student be winning more than her, and then her still trying to coach her. Just none of this makes sense. It's not good. It's not good. And God bless her, but like Dana is just not in ring is not her greatest strength. And when the creative and all of the other aspects around it are not great, that means she doesn't get to play to any of her strengths. And so it's just not a good representation of someone on screen. So this was not great. Blair rules.
Blair does rule. Blair does rule at the end of the thing, because Blair beat her and then was going to attack Dana, but Kalani slid into the ring, and Blair left, and Kalani was looking after Blair as she was leaving, but she had her left hand on Dana Brooke's shoulder, like this. Okay. And so then Dana, as Kalani was looking after Blair, Dana was doing this. Like the whole time just making this face while looking at the hand of her friend on her shoulder. And so I wonder if they're going to have her attack Kalani Jordan next week. It's unclear to me. It's like if you use one of those magic 8 balls and you shook it up and said, will Dana Brooke attack Kalani Jordan the next time they are in the same room together, and there's a camera also in that room, and you shook up an 8 ball, it would say, outlook cloudy, please try again. Because I have no idea.
I'm impressed you picked up on such subtle storytelling. Even an astute 100,000 subscriber reign like yours, to pick up on the nuances of NXT in general, really.
Right. I'm after this show, I'm going to see how cheap I can get a Magic 8 ball, because I want it as a prop for this show, where I will ask if the very obvious heel turns that are coming, if they're going to happen or not, and then we'll just decide what the 8 ball is telling the truth or not.
Well, and especially because they run like 3 playbooks. This is just the thing they do with every tag team without them being a tag team first.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not even a good... There's a really, really cool thing. This is a great time to talk about this, because we get young lions and we get young boys, and there's a really, really great story that gets built out in wrestling frequently of the master and the student, and when it's done well, it's done so well. But for that to work, you have to, one, that just generally takes more time than they're giving this, and 2, the master has to look better than the student and has to have more wins. So this is just like all over the place, and doesn't work because they've made Dana look so weak in the process. And they're just giving it no time. Like the fact that this heel turn's coming already is kind of ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah.
So speaking of ridiculous, we're going to talk more about what they are doing with him in a little bit. But what they're not doing with Mustafa Ali is giving him a title shot versus Dominic next week on Heatwave. So I guess they're saving that for the takeover, which is in whenever that is, October.
They're doing that with.
No, they're not doing it with anything. It's a separate weekend. I'm not sure if it's before or after the October one. But Matthew Hook's asking, is Rhea on the NXT roster now? She's got more story than she does on Raw. She doesn't like Lyra Valkyria. Dominic Mysterio doesn't like Dragon Lee. So Rhea challenges the two of them to a mixed tag match next week. Not intergender. Although, if you ask me, what is like a match you would want to see that you would pay money to watch? Dragon Lee versus Rhea Ripley is right up there.
It's up there.
We're never going to get to see that. She might give him the riptide, but he won't be able to do anything to her because the NXT. But yeah, so next week we're just going to get Dragon Lee and Lyra Valkyria versus Dom, and Mommy. He keeps insufferably calling her Mommy more and more now.
Yeah.
Mommy, that's a great idea, Mommy. September 30th. There you go. No Mercy. September 30th. That's when that is.
It's pretty gross. I actually really like building out something with Lyra Valkyria and Rhea. Like I like that. I feel like Lyra's ring style and presentation is kind of something that fits in and like nests kind of nicely under Rhea. I have no interest in this mixed tag match at all because it can't lead to anything good. And I feel like I would have a lot less of a problem if she was doing anything on the brand that her title is for.
Yeah. It seems to be that's a thing that's going to happen
at Payback.
Yeah, maybe at Payback. I mean, she's gonna have. She's gonna. Here's what we can. Magic 8 Ball. Will Rhea Ripley have a match versus Candice LeRae next Monday, and then will Raquel Rodriguez attack her after that match, setting up their match for Payback because now Raquel is cleared, and then will Rhea hit Dragon Lee with the Women's Championship or the North American Championship, leading to her and Dominic beating Lyra Valkyria and Dragon Lee the following night on NXT.
Absolutely.
It is decidedly so.
It is certain.
It is decidedly so. So, there we go. Yeah, I'm definitely doing that bit. I'm looking for one right now. It's going to be great. Yeah, so this is what we're doing. It's the thing. Yeah, it's a thing. That's what we're doing. We're doing the mixed tag, which is mixed tags are always bad. They can't be good. Because we got something going on. All right, tag in somebody else, and somebody else has got to tag out. So
there's one way that they could be good, and they never do it. And I've always thought this would be such a fun way to do it. Would be if you had like a valet with hardly any ring experience, like the Eva Marie character, and like a young stud like Chad Gable level wrestler against a great women's wrestler and like somebody who's like too old to still go. And the valet just kept tagging out to the young guy who he's not tired about anything. And so anytime there's the desperation moment of the old guy finally tagging the girl and she just tags right back out and she doesn't have to take a single bump. And like, there's such a fun story. They never have done it. And I don't think they ever will, but that's the one way you can do a mixed tag match well. Yeah. And they don't do it.
Backstage, Lyra and Dragon Lee try to get on the same page. First of all, Dragon Lee thinks Lyra is hitting on him, that in order to be a good team, they have to sleep together or something. And he's like, "You trying to get me in trouble? I'm taken." And Lyra Valkyria says, "Oh, no, nothing like that. We just have to, we don't know anything about each other. We should probably..." And then he says something to her in Spanish, which she doesn't understand, and he translates for her. And then she says something to him in Gaelic, which he doesn't understand, and she translates for him. Oh, it's comedy.
Old people write this show. That's what I
Yep.
thought during the segment. Was
Yes.
just like old people
Yes.
write the show.
Yes, it's true. It's very true. Trick Williams beat Drew Gulak. Because the Double Vest of the Beach came out to attack Damon Kemp and Charlie Dempsey, who were nonstop getting involved with Trick Williams. No Dragunov tonight. He wasn't on the show. They had
No,
a
but
little
we
bit
got
of
an awesome vignette.
An awesome vignette, which was nice. But I thought that they were going to have Double Vest of the Beach beating up the guys, and then Drew Gulak was going to get involved, and then there's Dragunov in the crowd, pointing and staring with blood red contacts at Trick. We didn't get any of that. So,
was this the first time we got to see Trick's full solo presentation? I think it was, right?
Yeah, certainly it's his first solo match since he's broken away from Carmelo.
Yeah, I feel like this was the most solo presentation that he's had that we've gotten to see, which was cool. He's really come a long way. He's in ring wise, he's grown a lot, and it's cool to see that he gets to kind of go out and spread his wings like this.
Yeah.
I just don't. I have no interest in a hipster mullet, and they're not Double Vest in the Beach anymore because they don't wear it. I don't know what else to call them. This just doesn't feel, and I'll watch it before I fully judge it, but it just doesn't feel like the right players involved. Maybe they'll surprise me. Sometimes Double Vest in the Beach do that. Sometimes their in-ring outkicks the coverage of what I expect, which is cool. But them versus Charlie Dempsey, and it just doesn't, I can't see it jive yet, but I'll watch it. I just also later we get a great match and then Dabba-Kato interrupts. Run a different playbook on the same episode of your damn show. It's maddening how many times they just recycle the same ideas. Not only just in general, within the same episode, Alex. You're killing me over here.
Here's what is so maddening about NXT is that finally we have a 2-hour program where they're here's 12 matches. It's just they're just throwing match after match after match at us. A lot of them are short, but more wrestling is good. And the reason that they only have 4 matches on the 2-hour SmackDown is so they don't have to repeat the same 3 storylines that they know of. It's the same people, really. Or if they're not the same people, they come from the same tree of knowledge. Somebody has told everybody who works for WWE, these are the only 4 storylines that we have. So if you do enough matches on the same show, you're going to have to repeat at least one of them, probably 2. So the drawback of this is because they have no other ideas. They end up just doing the same thing over and over again.
They also do spots that Shawn Michaels has already done. Let's not forget.
That is true.
But to your point too, I feel like anytime they do something different and it works, then they run that into the ground. When they did the in order for us to be friends thing, we have to beat the hell out of each other. That was something that they hadn't really been doing. And then they did it 3 times. And it's oh God, just the best part about wrestling is that you can set up all these stories in this different. That's what I love about the Heritage Cup Big Around is there's an inherently different thing every time that it's on. But it's just it was, Double Vest in the Beach interfered. Later we get Dabba-Kato interfering with 2 guys that guy should be nowhere near.
So the next segment is titled "Woof the Musical." That's what Luis has called it. That's Corbin and Von Wagner. Corbin walks past Mackenzie Mitchell backstage and is like, "Hey, so what's up?" she says, she's like, I'm going to the ring to talk about something. Well, what are you going to say? He's like, well, why don't you stick around and find out? And he goes out to the ring and he says basically nothing. He just repeats his whole, I'm the guy from, everyone in the back is a bunch of pansies, not like me, Baron Corbin, who beat up an Olympic wrestler that one time. And then he gets interrupted by Robert Stone and Von Wagner. And if there was ever a clearer representation of wins and losses do not matter, it is what they are doing with this. The week after Braun Breaker beat Von Wagner clean in the middle of the ring. And then after the match, Von Wagner, a sore loser, attacked Braun Breaker.
Sore loser babyface. Yeah.
Right. Put him through a table. That equals win. At least that equals you won the day. And so tonight he gets to come out and say to Corbin, at least Robert Stone does until Von Wagner gets on the mic, and say, did you see what I did to Braun Breaker last week? I put him through a table, and there's no mention of any. If you didn't watch last week, and you did watch the week before when they set up the match, and you didn't hear what happened last week, you would assume after tonight that Von Wagner beat Braun Breaker, but he didn't. So, what is if you're gonna treat Von Wagner like he beat Braun Breaker, and then treat Braun Breaker later in the same episode tonight like he lost to Von Wagner, why not just book Von Wagner to beat Braun Breaker?
Because
you're
nobody
not protecting anybody.
Because nobody could believe
anybody.
it.
It's just
because Von Wagner's not good in the ring. Like that, there's no way you believe it. But there were a few things I really liked that Corbin said. One, he acknowledged the burn the boats thing. So that makes me both happy and sad, because I really liked that inexplicably his Titantron just had burning boats.
Burn the ships.
Yeah.
Burn them. Yep.
I'm glad he explained it because it makes more sense, but I'm sad because it was very funny when it was completely random. I also like that he said he bounced Gable Stevenson out of here until the end of time. Because I think he's probably going to come and interfere with this match, right?
Yeah,
probably. I also, it's also believable enough because there's two things that might have also happened. That guy might have been like, I have to go to level up. I'm not ready for this. Or that guy might have been like, the Olympics sound great. Because it did not go the way it was supposed to. So I like that he leaned into that. I think the crowd tonight played along with Von Wagner, but I think you sincerely run the risk of Baron Corbin doing really well right now, doing that thing that heels do that's normally good when you're up against a strong babyface of, I'm saying things that make sense, and even though I'm the bad guy, I'm not so evil you can't wrap your head around the perspective that I'm coming from. This is what happened when they had Becky Lynch as a heel, where you were like, you're too good at it because they're doing dumb shit with the baby faces. So now I want to root for the bad guy. If you put Baron Corbin up against Gable Stevenson, and now against Von Wagner, I think you're really running the risk of the crowd turning again. And also, he was really trying to help Von Wagner in this. Like, I thought it was really clever that he was like, why am I speaking to you, Robert Stone? Let me speak to Von Wagner. Like, that's a chess move to set Von Wagner up for something that Von Wagner really, really couldn't dig into because he's not great at this. No. Like, this was like him digging in, which is he's not good at.
No, he does the he says, I don't know which one of you it is that I'm talking to. If it's Happy Laffy Corbin or the King Corbin or the bum ass Corbin or whatever other gimmicks you've had, because I don't remember them all because they suck. But you and I, we're gonna fight, and I'm gonna table you. So you're gonna get tabled.
No, it's worse than that. He goes, I got a reservation for one and I got a table for one. And I was like,
right.
buddy, that's how reservations work. But Feeling Dream B says I need to talk about the G1 right now. And I actually will, because watch this. Watch this.
Watch this.
This version of Okada is so great. And I know Okada's great at everything, but like when wrestling is at its best, I was raised. My parents don't watch wrestling, they don't care. But I was raised by wrestling parents of mine. Wins and losses not only matter, but you can set up stories in such a way that even the losers win. I've said this before, not that long ago. That's kind of what's happening with Okada right now. There's like, he's taking some L's in some pretty prominent places because there's this like story brewing where these young guys are coming up and he's like the angsty, cranky veteran in charge, right? Like there's this whole angle that's brewing. So like the losses matter. The loss to Naito and the finals of the G1 at 5 a.m. or whatever it was, my time that I was watching it, all of that storytelling comes into play. What they did with Braun Breaker and Von Wagner in this is they negated the win or the loss mattering to your point. And later we see that Braun's not done with him. Why? You beat him clean.
Well, no.
Because he put you through a table after?
Why? Because after I beat him clean, that's the end. And yeah, I know I was going to give a Gorilla Press slam to his manager, but honestly, Robert Stone deserves it. But Von Wagner put him through a table, which means now I have to get him back for that. There's always going to be that kind of a thing. But my point is that, yes, Braun Breaker should want to re-kick Von Wagner's ass for putting him through a table and making him look like a chump after the match. Von Wagner shouldn't get to, hey, you beat me fair and square there. Hey, why don't you take your hands off my manager? Because I'm gonna table you. And like that seems kind of a dumb thing to do. Is all of this is dumb. But like Baron Corbin saying to like Braun, hey, I know you intimidate everybody else here, but I'm not everybody else. I'm like, listen, cool. Braun Breaker versus Baron Corbin could be great. Like a really, really great match. So let's do that. Can we skip Baron Corbin versus Von Wagner here as well? But yeah.
I think they thought all the creative they did with this babyface turn worked enough that like our little Von Wagner could fly, and he did not fly today.
No, he sank like a rock. Talon Valley asks, what if I didn't watch last week or the week before? Well, then you are most of the audience for this show.
That is correct.
Hey, so here's the one great thing about tonight. Go figure. Well, second great thing. I'll give it to one of the matches. Mustafa Ali.
Yeah.
This is a version of the amazing U.S. title gimmick he was trying to do. That he shot and wrote the promo and did the whole thing, produced it. It was friggin' amazing. And he was all set to do it. And they told him no. So he's like, fuck it, I'm putting it on Twitter anyway.
And I'm requesting my release. Yeah.
And I'm requesting my release pretty soon after that. But that was awesome. He was going to do this really cool thing where he was going to really force people to choose sides in really interesting thing that they don't do anymore with WWE audience. Like he was like, if you in America as an immigrant or a child of immigrants have ever felt like you were unwelcome in your own home, I am for you. And I'm like, that is some subversive shit that I am all here for, to make people like question, like not only if that applies to them, but if it doesn't, how you would feel if it did. And like ask some really tough questions, play with a lot of gray area there, which of course they were never going to let him do on TV. So they didn't let him do it, shutted him to the side, didn't let him do anything basically. And then Now, the North American title thing, he is bringing in Canada and Mexico into this as well. But he's like, I'm going to be the leader of a new North America. He's not doing it as subversive, but give him a little bit. I wonder if he'll be able to work some of that into it, because tonight the promo tonight was awesome. If you believe in Mustafa Ali, and then there are these big banners unfurl behind him with MA over the North America, that was great. It was so good, man.
This is how I know Mustafa Ali could do anything. He made me laugh at Dominic Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
When he was like a man with what family values, and called him a convicted felon. I was like, you're the only person to have nailed this. The only one who absolutely nailed this. Yeah. I love it. And I gotta say, like, I'm always on the side of the artist creating art. I can understand with how kind of unbridled the first attempt at this was, and knowing wrestling crowds and stakeholders, why WWE wouldn't want to go that far again. Because I think it was going to some places that, like, especially if he was going to be doing it as a heel, like that's loaded.
Well, that's the thing.
It's actually like important and should be done.
What I loved about it was that some people would think it was a heel, but some people in that audience would think it was explicitly for them and be rooting really hard for that guy. I love the idea of saying this character is going to be hated by part of the audience and loved by part of the audience, and then there's a third of the audience that we're going to figure out which way they lean. That's really interesting to me, because and you do it intentionally, knowing this is going to piss some people off.
That's the thing.
This is some other people who are going to love this. And this is going to, that's as opposed to, this guy is the bad guy, boo him. This guy is the face, you cheer him. That's so boring to me. I want to be asked to make a choice. To weigh what I'm seeing and actually make a choice as a fan. I never get asked to make a choice anymore. I am told this is the choice that you make. And it's boring.
That's why I always love, I mean, I'm a CM Punk gal, but like Straight Edge Society Punk was my favorite. Mm-hmm. And I loved the Playlist Champion for the same reason, where it was like these arrogant assholes who are a little bit right all the time. And with Mustafa, they could have done so much too, right? Because he has the history as a cop. Like, you could have also turned that on his head the more you revealed about this guy, where the people who were kind of anti that could get one over. But that's just not, unfortunately, the way WWE tells stories. But I'm intrigued to see if they've kind of found, I hope that they found a middle ground that they feel comfortable with, that lets him stay true to what his vision was. Because he's so good.
Whatever they are doing, this is a long-term thing, at least until September 30th. For the former takeover. It's not a you got your rematch versus Dominic at Heatwave, and wouldn't you know it, Rhea Ripley got involved and you lost. Like, because that's what they would do otherwise. If you're going to do what they did with this vignette, and it feels like it's the beginning of something, then it will extend to the next PLE. And if he wins, beyond as the champion. And if he loses, it feels like it extends beyond. Like, this is he could lose a first match with Dominic and win a second match. Like, that kind of a thing, depending on how they put this out there. But yeah.
I'm really intrigued and I'm really hopeful. It's not lost on me the timing that he got greenlit to do this, and that Vince McMahon has stepped away for creative responsibilities. I'm like actually a little bit nervous about that from a sincere standpoint of what if Vince recovers from his spinal stuff. But I'm very happy, because artists should be able to art. They should be able to do what they want to do, especially when you're as good as Mustafa Ali is. There is nothing he hasn't made work. There are only things that they've stopped him from doing. That I loved, like, even just the what 6 weeks that he was allowed to do like the Positive Ali thing. That music video and stuff, that passive aggressive shit was so funny. So I just have so much trust and faith in him as a performer to pull off whatever he wants to do.
All they had to do to make Retribution work with him as the leader was take off the silly fucking masks, get rid of the stupid fucking names, and let him work. He was doing vignettes that they only put on social media, like laying out specifically who each person was mad at and why and what they were going to do about it. Like he did this all this backstory of like why you have forsaken us and why we need retribution. And instead they were a laughingstock every time they were on TV. But you could have made that work. He could have made it work. They still the find the YouTube clip of when he was revealed as the leader of Retribution.
Millions.
3.7 million views in like a week. People were all about it.
On an angle that was bleeding, was not working until they actually paid it off. Like that was pretty cool. They had the parts. Look at Dijak.
Yeah. Yes, that's so true. So yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever this is. I trust Mustafa Ali. I don't know if I trust them to get out of his way, but I trust him to have the right ideas. NXT Championship #1 contenders match should have been the main event. Instead, whatever. This Wesley defeated Dijak. This was great.
This is excellent.
This was better than their PLE match back in February. This was awesome. I just wish it hadn't required a distraction to end it. That's the one thing about it. I'm like, you didn't need that. You didn't, especially since Eddie Thorpe's supposed to be the guy who's like honorable about this. Like, let him come after Dijak after Dijak loses, and let him asking Dijak for a rematch be a reason Dijak gets really pissed, puts him through a table backstage, and then Eddie Thorpe has even more reason to come after him.
How many distraction finishes did we get today? Holy shit.
Like this stoic vision of just like, you will not break me. You will not get a rise out of me. I'm going to get you in that ring, and when I do, I will beat you. Like, and Dijak just being rageaholic about everything. That's cool. But anyway, the match was amazing. There was a version of a tornado DDT thing.
Holy hell! What was that? Yeah,
like he picked him up like this, and then he fully twisted everything and just flinged his legs around to drop him into a DDT that Dijak, to his credit, took fully standing on his head for a second and a half before he fell over. That was great. Dijak also just slinging him into the corner of the steps right before Eddie Thorpe showed up on the outside. This was great. This is everything of all the people who've showed up from the main roster back to NXT or come to NXT for the first time. Dijak's my favorite because what they've done with his character outside the ring is a lot of fun. And he is so protected because every match he's like this close to winning it, and he doesn't need to. It doesn't feel like he's taken losses. Like he lost that match to Dragunov, but like honestly, did anybody win that match from Dragunov? Dragunov survived. Like there's just all these great matches that he has had. The feud with Tony D'Angelo was great. The first one versus Wesley was awesome. He's just so fun to watch. What a really cool combination of size and speed and skill as a big man. He's great. And Wesley did this. He did a full like spine buster thing where like,
yeah, what the hell was that too? This whole match, I was just like,
Dijak kicked like to do a big boot, and Wesley ducked. And then like just squatted him by like getting his shoulder underneath one leg and then just put him down like Bobby Lashley doing it. Like that was friggin' awesome. It was really, 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 really
If you ever need to explain the concept, styles make matchups. This is the one. This is the textbook match that you show to people when you say styles make matchups. Just operating in their own worlds of what they do extremely well, and then the meeting in the middle stuff was unbelievable with it. Really, just there's just that inexplicable chemistry thing that clicks in sometimes. Sometimes when you get two people in the ring, they just have it. Wesley and Dijak are like that. But I gotta say, as much as that just clicks in sometimes, I don't know if we've seen a run of anybody just having it with someone else as much as we've seen with Dijak and NXT. Like, this has been like a underrated, incredible run. And I think I have less of a problem with him eating L's because he's not on a title hunt right now. Like, he's not on a specific path to anything other than his path of destruction, which has been delicious. So I will have issues with him not getting W's because then you're in Lance Archer, Nyla Rose territory where you're like, why am I supposed to buy that you're this beast if you never actually win anything? But right now it's working. When you mentioned Dragunov, I was like, I couldn't even tell you who won that match, I don't think, because I was just so blown away by the match that we saw that I was like, oh yeah, I remember the finish now. So really, really, really great work. This was fantastic. This was match of the night for sure. I loved Wesley's promo at the end of this episode too. I gotta say, like, this is some of the stronger work that we've seen. We were just talking about how bad guy, good guy stuff gets really boring. I feel like what they built for him and Carmelo is dimensional, and there's 100%. Shades of both of them. Yep. And it was a really refreshing go home segment, and you can trust that with Wesley and Carmelo, and that was earned in NXT world. But this match was fantastic. This didn't feel like a free TV match. This felt like something more special than that. So really, really, really strong stuff here.
Dijak getting back in the ring, gets caught with something, and then Wesley hits a spiral tap. That Wesley just moves so quickly doing that. I also loved the spot where, because Dijak was working on his shoulder and he couldn't do the backflip kick because his shoulder gave out, and then Dijak tried to do his version of the DTH, and he couldn't do that because his knee gave out. And I just loved that both of them were like so beat up they couldn't do their regular finishers. That was fun.
You said a couple weeks ago that you loved a couple of matches where you've seen things of, like, in a match an opponent realizing, like, this guy is way too fast for me, I have to, like, call some things on the fly, or this guy's way too big for me, I gotta figure out a way around this. This was like both of them doing that, like, this guy's too big for me a little bit and this guy's too fast for me, and then figuring out a way to, like, meld those worlds together. But then you saw Wesley have sneaky strength, and you saw Dijak have explosive.
That's what it felt like to me, was Wesley coming in going, okay, this guy's bigger than me. I got to figure out a way to use my speed. Oh, he's faster than I thought. And Dijak saying, hey, I'm bigger than this guy. I don't need to worry. All I got to do is if I can catch him, if I can get a hold of him because he's so fast, then I can squash him like a bug. And then him going, holy shit, this guy's a lot stronger than I thought he was. It's like basically in like in certain moments, recognizing they were underestimating certain parts of the opponent's game was really fun. This was excellent. I honestly thought we were going into this with the possibility of it going to a double count out or a non-finish and getting Carmelo versus in a three-way, because I wouldn't mind that at all. But instead we get what we did. I honestly liked the setup too of, like, Carmelo was at the building, at the venue, signing 8x10s, and each guy came and paid him a visit to tell him that he was going to beat him up a week later. So that was cool. And yes, as we'll talk about it, as closing contract signings go, this was one of the best that I've seen. Hey, Tyler Bate versus Joe Coffey should have been good.
It was for so much of it, and then it wasn't.
It was, but I also felt like both of these guys, like looking back on it, Tyler Bate and Joe Coffey were like, oh, so you're using this to put over a guy who's significantly worse than both of us.
Yeah, cool. They weren't going to let that get into third gear.
Yeah, we're just going to cruise through this. And
right, if you go on YouTube and type in these wrestlers' names, you will find something much cooler. Like they really did. And Vic Joseph, great on commentary of this, talked about that, like how many times they fought each other in Europe. And then Booker T, terrible on commentary, doesn't know who holds the Heritage Cup.
He was actually saying that Tyler Bate was such a coward for not defending the Heritage Cup versus Joe Coffey, and which is why this match is happening. And it honestly, I feel like somebody should send Booker to a doctor, because if that's he's been on commentary for several weeks, months now in a row. That has never happened. That is not, he is confusing somehow Tyler Bate with Noam Dar, and I don't believe Joe Coffey's been involved in the Heritage Cup. Like no. It's like he was like Tyler Bate, what a coward for not defending the Heritage Cup versus Joe Coffey. And Vic was like, what are you talking about? No,
There's a segment later in this episode where they clarify it. Yeah. Did you look at the rundown for this episode? Oh my God, maddening. Maddening to hear that. And yeah, Dabba-Kato comes in here for reasons.
Dabba-Kato comes in and to attack both of them. The rest of Gallus,
Joe Coffey.
Rest of Gallus get Joe Coffey out of there so that Tyler Bate can take the giant choke slam. Dabba-Kato had a vignette earlier in the night, which is the first time we've seen him in forever, which I guess should have tipped me off that he was coming back soon. I just didn't think it was going to be tonight. Mm-hmm. Where's Obafemi? Who's better at everything about this than Dabba-Kato is. He had, I believe he had one match, looked friggin' awesome in it,
and then just
had a really cool backstage interview, which was like, I will break everybody a face. And it was just so great. And then just gone, just vanished off the face of the planet. Obafemi was immediate gold. It was like, this is everything they want Omos to be. And he's just gone, just goodbye. I don't know where he is. But now we get Dabba-Kato just beating the smushing Tyler Bate, one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. Dabba-Kato is not that. And yep.
A far cry from it. From a ring perspective, we had 3 distraction finishes tonight. Is that right? The tag one.
Mm-hmm.
We had, I guess, a distraction finish-ish with Dijak, right?
Yeah.
And this, exhaustive. Like, just do.
There was a distraction finish in Thea Hale versus JC Jane. It just happened to be the distraction was somebody at ringside who was already there.
Oh my God. Do anything different.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. 5 distraction finishes that Luis is able to count.
I'm a barf.
Yeah, Dabba-Kato, the last we saw of him in ring, he lost to Reggie and Scripps. Me too. And Axiom. And he's back now to beat up Tyler Bate.
Sorry, I said Axiom. I had to.
Yep, it's true. So I had forgotten that they announced that Andre Chase got Thea Hale a match versus JC Jane. I had forgotten that they had said that was happening tonight. So at this point, we were at like 9:30 Eastern time, and this thing always has an overrun. And I was like, was the last match of the night? I mean, I'm sure we're getting the contract signing, which hasn't been announced yet, but that was it. It wasn't. We had the match after that, the women's match. But before that, we had Nathan Fraser doing hard-hitting home truths and a little thing with Noam Dar. This was cute.
It was a little long, but it was effective. Like it was pretty good.
I mean, like when I say cute, I mean it was like it was silly and nothing, and like it didn't even have the bite of the comedy that the metaphor has been doing so well. It was just the same basic thing. Like, admit that the Heritage Cup you are carrying is a fraudulent Heritage Cup, and Noam Dar not doing that, and that was basically it for about 5 minutes. Like, okay, there were some gags in there that were okay. I mean, giving Nathan Fraser a button that if you push it, it said fraud, and then just him pushing it every time.
Noam Dar said something.
Noam Dar said anything was okay, but
the only thing that made me laugh was when they played it back. I don't know if it was Noam Dar or Mensa or one of the gals. Like, it might have been Lash Legend. I have no idea. But somebody goes, "That was AI," or like I just heard someone go AI. That made me laugh. I was like, "Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty clever."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see who said it. But I really I really like the metaphor. This felt very go homey, but it just felt long for a go homey segment because it was they basically didn't say anything new, to your point. But it was cute, and it was. I'm very much looking forward to the match. Like, the match is gonna be great. I'm curious to see. That's one I don't know who takes that home. Like, I think the metaphor is clicking right now, so I could very much see them giving it back to him. And I think he only lost it because of the injury, so it'll be interesting. But yeah, segment was fine. But I'm just so in on Noam Dar. Like, I just love this
great.
guy.
No, everything feels very muddy around this championship because there was that moment where like Dragon Lee was really heavily involved with Frazier, but now he's doing a thing with Dominic, so that's like forgotten about. Just like completely, we're not going to talk about that anymore. Tyler Bate just beat Noam Dar in a match for the title, for the fake cup. And then just gave him back the fake cup and then said to Nathan Fraser, "You owe me." But now Tyler Bate's certainly going to be in a thing with Dabba-Kato for a while. So Tyler Bate is beat Noam Dar last week, and Noam Dar gets a title shot at Nathan Fraser at Heatwave next week. And in between, Tyler Bate gets his ass kicked by one move by a guy who can't wrestle. Like nobody's connecting any of these dots to realize how friggin' stupid all of this is. So Tyler Bate, let's say Nathan Fraser retains. Tyler Bate would be, well, like, you owe me. So Tyler Bate versus Nathan Fraser should be the next program for the Heritage Cup. But Tyler Bate's got to get squashed by Dabba-Kato first. And if after that happens, he's not allowed to.
If you can't just jump back into the Heritage Cup.
I say he shouldn't. He's going to get squashed by Dabba-Kato. He shouldn't. That would be terrible. But why bring back Dabba-Kato to attack Tyler Bate if you're not going to put Dabba-Kato over, at least initially, in their feud? And if you're going to have him win the first match but eventually lose the feud, well, that feud's going to last a while. So when does Tyler Bate get his shot at Nathan Fraser? If Nathan Fraser even wins next week, because if Noam Dar wins, Tyler Bate actually should get a shot at that Heritage Cup because he beat Noam Dar last week. But Tyler Bate first has to lose matches to Dabba-Kato. Why are we doing any of this?
To make Dabba-Kato look good, which is a nauseating answer to that question. But this feels like not that far off from what they just did to Tyler Bate with the triple threat picture.
It does.
Like, they just screwed him over in that. And now they're going to do that again. But my bigger thing is, Alex, like, if you were carrying a Heritage Cup around, I just wonder what that might look like. You know what I mean?
Well, unfortunately, I cleaned my room, this room.
You did what?
I did. And some of the things that were in this are now in the hall, I think. It's not
you
here
don't have
anymore.
your side table Heritage Cup with you?
I have a trash can.
That's the fake Heritage Cup.
It's a fake Heritage Cup.
Touche.
Fake one.
Touche, sir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just saying, 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Do better. Do better.
I should do better. You're right. The side table is around somewhere. It's just not nearby. So, sorry. Anyway. So, yeah, I know I let everybody down. I apologize.
You should.
So JC Jane defeated Thea Hale because Andre Chase decided to put the turnbuckle pad back on the turnbuckle after JC Jane took it off. Thea Hale went to throw JC Jane's head into the exposed turnbuckle, but the pad was back on it, and Andre Chase was standing there like, "You don't want to win like that." I'm sorry. And then Thea Hale screamed at him, and then got rolled up and lost to JC Jane. And then she screamed more at Andre Chase and left. And Duke Hudson stood there with his cup and just did. That's about it.
The JC looked really good in the ring in this. This was, I feel like, one of her better matches.
Mm-hmm.
So that was encouraging to see. Not that she normally looks terrible or anything, but this was a stronger performance from her. Everything just looked really like impactful and locked in tonight.
It is very funny to me. Like after she turned on Gigi, everyone was like, JC Jane's going to get that mega push, man.
Yeah.
Get that mega push. She got injured in that feud with Gigi, but then like ended up losing the feud and then kind of felt like she feels like she's on a lower tier from anybody who could possibly challenge for the title right now. And that I would not have thought they were going to do that with her at that point.
Well, there was an inherently weird thing with that because it was like Toxic Attraction was so made to feel so important because they left the title on Mandy for so long. So I think you just figured that the remnants would also be feeling like number one contenders out of that. I also think Gigi's face turn went maybe better than people were expecting. Like she has a very authentic babyface promo style, which I like. But yeah, it does feel like ever since the separated shoulder, that whole feud got stuck in the mud in a really weird way. Actually, that was like didn't have the same va-va-voom that we thought we were going to get. Yeah, this is like, I think it makes you not like Andre Chase, which is not supposed to be what it's doing.
And yet, that is what it is doing.
It's very much what it's doing. Like it makes people look dumb when they do things like this. I also don't feel like I've done a good enough job of explaining like how funny I find it that like wrestling does some really corny things. And like, I feel like it's not talked enough about how like when you literally throw in the towel for someone, like how heavy-handed that is.
Yes.
It's the corniest stuff ever. Mm-hmm. Oh man. Get it? Like they're throwing in the towel, like literally though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's a towel. Yeah. Yeah. So remember how the Garzas were texting each other while they were shirtless in the same bed last week? And they were definitely in the same apartment, even though they weren't in the same apartment, but they were definitely in the same apartment. Mm-hmm. Tonight, they did the same thing, except for they were in the same bed shot at different times, and they just moved the picture of their grandfather from one nightstand to the other. And it was very obvious. But they had, I don't know if this was, could have been, I don't know. That was like his words or somehow his voice having been recorded, or if it was just all this weird, like, we're going to fake it like this dead guy's alive. But their grandfather, Humberto Garza, telling them to be nice to each other. And then they woke up from a dream, having seen like footage of them playing and footage of them being with their grandpa, and then they're like, you're gonna, all of the hijinks are gone or whatever. Now we're really gonna go after it. And so they each woke up, had a nightmare about their grandpa talking to them, and looked at the respective nightstands.
Like 60% of this was great, and the framework it was wrapped in was cheesy. But like, I felt like the production of all the like bringing his voice into it and like the throwback footage and stuff, I thought all that was like very good heartstrings building stuff. But the Field of Dreams, we both had the same dream thing was a little much, and the nightstand stuff, it does feel very much like they're lovers instead of brothers. It's a weird little thing. They should have done this one last week, which I think Louise even put in our chat thing, but like it did a good job of getting me emotionally invested, but then it pulled away. Like the framework just came across as kind of corny, just like it did last week.
It's true. It's very true.
It's damn true, one might say.
Yeah. I'm trying to. Anyway. Double Vest and the Beige. They're around. They're feuding with. It doesn't actually say beige, but I wish it did, because he is fairly boring. No, they're around. They're doing stuff. They're feuding with Catch Point. Yeah, suspicion. Yeah, Humberto Garza's voice was probably AI. You're right, Luis. It probably was. There's a Tiffy vignette. She's going to be at Heatwave. She's defending her title about as often as Rhea Ripley is right about now. So that's great.
I mean, she got put on the last pay-per-view, so it's more than we could say for Rhea, but
that's good.
I'm going to be at Heatwave. Toodles.
So you'll see me there. Bye. And that's it. Wesley interrupted Carmelo Hayes signing the last of his 8x10s to slam down a contract for him to sign. And he's like, I'll see you this. I'm not signing that right now. Which is, I'll just sign it. I don't know why Carmelo has got to be a bitch about it. So Wesley smushes all of his 8x10s off of the table. And then he says, I'll see you out there, champ. And he drags the table with him. It had to be that table so that later it would break.
Correct.
But they had a really great back and forth. So the promo stuff was excellent. And I had forgotten. I had literally forgotten. I don't know how that Wesley took the North American title from Carmelo by pinning a third guy. And Cameron Grimes, I think. But so he brought that up. It's like, you think I'm scared of you, or I don't think I can beat you. I took the title off of you. And Carmelo says, yeah, but you didn't beat me for it.
Yeah.
And it was actually, I like their listen, I think you're really good, but that I think I can beat you. Both of them. I like that. There's not a like mutual respect kind of crap. It's like respect is saying too much. It's not like I think you're crap. I know you're really good, but I think I'm better.
But I'm better. Yeah.
And that's really good stuff. Yeah, honestly.
That's pro wrestling.
It should be. It's very rarely is though. Yeah, it's
it is in the G1.
It's the G1. Yeah.
That's where it is.
This was a lot of fun, some really good back and forth, and then after Carmelo finally signed it, Wesley jumped straight up and landed on the table, and the table snapped in half.
With God as my witness, it is broken in half.
God had to do something because there's no way that table snaps under the weight of Wesley jumping up and standing on it. But it did. So yeah, it was a weird thing. Like I'm pretty sure I saw once like a Braun Strowman contract signing where after the contract signing he was like just took both hands and went and just the table snapped in half that way to prove like how strong he was. And I don't know that it's a weird thing to be like I can jump very high from a standing position. And also the weight of me, which is obviously less weight than would actually required to do this, broke this table in half. Like I'm not sure what it is that you're proving. Like I can jump very tall. I do a pretty good standing box jump is about it.
I think it was going for like just a punctuation mark at the end of this. Like I can confidently say I haven't seen that before. Like I really liked Wesley getting into you're not even my biggest doubter. I'm my biggest doubter.
Yeah.
And going through, I was in the military and people thought it was insane that I would even try this. And then they thought it was insane I'd win a title. And people think it's insane I'm going to beat you. And I've done all those things up until now. So why wouldn't I? And then I loved the reason when you doubt me, it resonates is because I'm my own biggest self-doubt. Yeah. What an awesome piece of promo work. And I kind of liked, it felt like a promo that's elevating him to a world title caliber wrestler. Like it feels like the work that they put into the North American title, though they ended it in one of the most atrocious ways you possibly could. This is the next level of Wesley. And we've given a lot of credit to, but it bears repeating. This man was in a tag team and became a singles competitor under not great circumstances. And from that moment on, gave really sincere promos and video packages when all that happened. Has done nothing but put on great matches. Like he's really come into his own here. And I loved the way Carmelo received it all was so good too. Of just like to your point where he's like, yeah, but I am him. And Wesley being like, why do you think I want to be him? Like I want to be me. It's like that was really, really, really good. There was like a lot of emotional appeal in this segment, and it felt kind of like go home worthy segment. Like it felt like I'm ready for this match now, which was great to see. But Alex, we do have some people that might not be ready for matches that need to get ready for matches. We do have some returning brands that we are incorporating into the broadcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's situations that gentlemen may be in where they find themselves ill-prepared for such a match. Okay. And they don't want to have a squash.
Okay.
And they don't want that 1, 2, 3 to hit too quick.
No.
And by God, if there was only someone to help.
Is your sex life stuck in developmental? Well, get ready for a call-up with Bluechew.com and the code Fightful. Same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but how about this? No awkward in-person visits, no trips to the pharmacy. It's shipped straight to your door in a discreet package. But let me tell you, your package is not going to be discreet when you use Bluechew, and the code Fightful helps give you that confidence, that performance to take you straight to the main event, if you know what I'm saying. When approved online by one of our physicians, it just arrives straight to your door. You're not going to have people nosing around with what you're doing. And right now, you get your first shipment free when you use the code Fightful. Go straight to the top, if you know what I mean. Memorable performance, high spot, whatever other innuendos you can think of. Bluechew.com and the code Fightful.
All right. Hey, Dylan Dutch says, I don't watch NXT. Wish I could say the same. But to always sour grapes while working. Thank you. How exactly have the creeds not been revealed? I must have missed it. No, like it's definitely not the creeds, even though they look exactly like them, and one of them and they do their actual moves. But they're wearing masks, so we can't say legally we can't say that it's the creeds. So yeah, no, it's definitely the creeds.
Psst,
Thank you.
it's the creeds.
Okay, thank you. Jambeard says, wasn't Heatwave last time during the Super Bowl when it was that 6-man tag? I don't believe so. Heatwave has been a summertime deal.
We got Spring Break-a-kin. Remember that?
Yeah, that was that. That was that one. Yep. Yeah, I don't believe that was. Heatwave last year had Vinci versus Carmelo Hayes, which humped. It did hump.
It did.
Jambeard says the Jays are in a playoff spot while the Wankies are sitting last in the division. Feels good tonight. Coming for those Astros next, Luis and Kate. I don't know, like, put you in there with the Astros.
This is for your own mental health as a baseball fan. This is a very long season. The Blue Jays aren't going to, like, win it all. I just want you to know that so that you're not disappointed.
Yeah. Tom LaValle saying, you see this jacket? Blue shoes of a champion. Yeah. Hey, we got some we have some puns and also dad jokes. Here we go. Jambeard says Carolina Hurricane Helms versus Vegas Golden LA Knights. Those are hockey puns. Jambeard's more hockey puns from Jambeard. House of Blackhawks versus the Britsburg Penguins. True Infamous doing basketball puns. Seamus, the Boston Celtic Warrior. Jambeard now doing NFL puns. I told you it was
this is dealer's choice. You're not.
Jambeard says Nikita Detroit Lions, Chicago Bear Country, Switchblade Jay White Sox. That's baseball. And Toronto Lucha Raptors. Back to basketball. More basketball. True Infamous says Kareem Abdullah the Butcher Jabbar. True Infamous back to NFL. Chelsea Green Bay Packers.
Basketball.
Ricardo with the NFL. Minnesota Viking Raiders. And True Infamous and with more NBA. Darby Allen Iverson. Okay. Jake Neal saying, okay, wait, the man of 100,000 subscribers, Alex Paulocho. Tom LaValle says, no, the man of 100,004 subscribers, Alex Jericho.
Well played.
Yeah, both are good ideas. Jake Neal says 401 Kate Elizabeth.
Do I get to retire then?
I guess. Here's a joke. True Infamous says, I'm going to start a YouTube channel where I critique bottled water because it's an untapped market.
Yeah.
Jake Neal says, 100,000 of times.
That was my favorite.
True Infamous, basketball puns. Miami Latino Heat and Beth Phoenix Suns. Well, Spurs, no. Jake Neal says, I demand the sum of 1 million holla. True Infamous with candy puns, Kit Kat Tag Team, and Braun Jaw Breaker. And Lieutenant Photo says,
Nana runs
50-50 booking, which equals 100. Get it? 1,000. And then Jen Pringle says, my wife asked me to stop singing Wonderwall to her. I said, maybe.
That's a really good one.
It's very good. Okay, here we go. A little scene here. Tom LaValle says, from a meme I have had saved for years. Pavlov says, The dogs salivate when I ring a bell. Me, weird. Why? They connect two unrelated events to repeated conditioning. Ha ha! Stupid animals. The experiment took 69 days. Nice.
Nice.
See? That's funny.
Well done.
Oh, good. And Jambeard saying, "Oh, Kate, I have no hope for the Jays doing anything in the playoffs. They don't deserve to be there since they have a losing record against everyone in our division." See, there you go.
Okay, see.
See, that's nice.
Respect.
All right, jukebox. Here we go. No more jukeboxes.
We're cut off.
We're done. Okay. Louisville in celebration of my shirt, which is a bluey shirt, but it's Chewie from Star Wars. This was an Insta buy. Here we go. Bluey theme song, which really isn't much of anything, but he wants Chewbacca singing it. I don't really do a Chewbacca.
That's a very, very tough and specific one.
It is. I've never been able to get that one, the right kind of gargling sound. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Mom! Dad! Burgle! I'm really bad at that one. I can't do it. So
I feel like that one doesn't need to maybe be in the
nope, not
in the queue anymore.
I could say that this shirt is Bluechew endorsed.
All
Get it? Okay. All right. All right, here we go. All right. Okay. I'm gonna find it. I am gonna find it. This is I want to do this one because I love it. It's very funny to me, but I can't seem to find the transcript of it. But I will. In the meantime, Tiffany sings "Hello" by Adele or by Lionel Richie. I guess you get to choose.
I get to choose?
Yep.
Let's do Adele. Because I think Tiffany in a brooding song is very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all the years you'd like to meet to go over everything. They say that time's supposed to heal, but I ain't done much healing. Hello? Can you hear me? I'm in California dreaming about who we used to be when we were younger and free before Maxine Dupree. I've forgotten how it felt before the world fell at our feet. There's such a difference between us and a million miles. Hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything I've done, but when I call, you never seem to be home. Hello from the outside. At least I can say that I've tried. To tell you I'm sorry for breaking your heart, but it don't matter. It clearly doesn't tear you apart anymore. Toodles.
Mm-hmm. It's very good. All right. Vicky wants Darby singing "Put Down the Ducky" from Sesame Street. All right, there we go. Okay, here we go. Excuse me, Mr. Hoots. I hate to bug a busy bird, but I want to learn the sex and I need a helpful word. I always get a silly squeak when I play the blues. Well, this is a duet. Who's going to be the second one? Pick quickly. Hold on. Oh, I got it. I know it's perfect.
Ludwig.
No. Sorry, it's too easy. Hoots the Owl is nothing if not Linda. Sorry. Ernie, keep you cool. I'll teach you how to blow the sax, among other things. I think I dig your problem. It's rubber and it quacks. You'll never find the skill you seek till you pay your dues. You got to put down the ducky. Put down the ducky. Put down the ducky. Put it down. You got to leave the duck alone. You got to put down the ducky. Put down the ducky if you want to play the saxophone. He didn't hear a word I said. You got to get it through your head. Don't be a stubborn cluck. Ernie, lay aside the duck. I've learned a thing or two from years of playing in a band. It's hard to play a saxophone with something in your hand. To be a fine musician, you're going to have to face the facts. Though you're blessed with flying fingers, when you want to wail, you're stuck. What good are flying fingers if they're wrapped around a duck? Change the toy's position if you want to ace the sax. You got to put down the ducky. Put down the ducky. Put down the ducky. Yeah, you got to leave the duck alone. You got to put down the ducky. Put down the ducky. Put down the ducky if you want to play the saxophone. Thank you. True Infamous saying, why did Billy get fired from the banana factory? Because he kept throwing away the bent ones.
Oh, no. Alex, they're all bent.
They're all bent. That's the joke. That is the joke. That's the joke one. Meat Norma says, I've been busy with meat business. Just want to say meat loves all you people. Keep cool, gabagools. Also toodles.
Toodles.
Thank you.
We love you, Meat.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Jam Beard wants Ludwig, and I'll add this, and also Giovanni Vinci, to do the scene of the rant of the Wicked Witch of the West, Witch of Wicked the East, bro, and her sister is a princess. So here we go.
The stuff of legends.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. Her sister was a witch, right? And what was her sister? A princess. The Wicked Witch of the East, bro. I'm going to stab him. You're going to look at me and you're going to tell me that I'm wrong? Am I wrong? This is my favorite film, Giovanni. She wore a crown and she came down in a bubble, Doug. Ludwig, she came down in the bubble. Grow up, bro. Grow up.
One of my favorite things to have been caught on film ever.
It's good.
Well done.
Okay. There we go. Okay. It was, yeah. Luis says, oh, it was the meme. How the F was I not able to find the meme? Well, I don't know.
Do better. We have 100,000 subscribers now.
Yeah, we get, listen, honestly.
This is not the time to be slacking.
Okay, here we go. Hope the Ceases are watching.
They've confirmed in the chat.
Okay. There we go.
Look at that blowing in the wind.
It's true.
Gorgeous.
Orion Ben 666.
The devil's number.
What's Ricky Rainbow to sing The Rainbow Connection as made famous by Kermit the Frog? All right. And so it goes. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong. Wait and see. Someday we'll find it. The rainbow connection. The lovers, the dreamers, the egg roll wrappers, the tortillas, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it. The rainbow connection. The lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell. We know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep? And have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailors? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it. The lovers, the rainbow connection, the lovers and the dreamers in me. Da da dee da da dum, da da dee da da do. Thank you. Ethan Smith says 100,000 burgers, 100,000 fries, 100,000 tacos, 100,000 pies, 100,000 tater tots, 100,000 pizzas, 100,000 tenders, 100,000 meatballs, 100,000 coffees, 100,000 wings now. I believe that's a reference to a Netflix show that I don't watch. but I am on the social. But I'm on the social media, so I know something about it. Somebody referenced it before.
Ricky Rainbow, you're on social media?
I'm on the social media, but I've got burners. They're all burners. You can't follow Ricky Rainbow, but I'll do the whole first name bunch of numbers, and then people think that I'm like an Elon Musk stan, but I'm not. I'm just there.
I thought you would be like Richard Black and White.
I like to lurk.
You like to lurk? I
just lurk around.
You're so mysterious.
Sometimes I like to look, but other times I like to lurk. It's fun to try say like to look and like to lurk. They're very different things, but they sound very similar.
Ricky, do you do your own hair or do you go to a colorist?
No, yeah. So no,
or does it grow out of your head like that?
No, it doesn't. It's not natural, love. I wish it was, but now I'll have a stylist.
I'm glad. Okay, but we don't know where she is because you seem like you're from the UK, but we don't know if you actually.
But we don't know. No, okay. I have. See, do you know how they used to say, "Oh, he's got a girl in every port."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a stylist in every bus station. Those are where you get the best looks, in the bus station.
The bus station.
Yeah, go down to your port authority and just stand there and wait for someone to offer to do your hair, and then take them up on it.
Seems like a foolproof plan, to be honest. I can't think of a single thing that would go wrong in that scenario.
Yeah. No, nothing can go wrong when you've got confidence in yourself.
That's beautiful, Ricky. How are you feeling about
Now, I may or may not be in a life of crime, but you won't ever know because anything I say might be a lie, including that thing about getting my hair done in a bus station.
Ricky, I was going to take your advice to get my hair done at Port Authority. Listen, until you just said that.
If there's anything we've learned, is that don't take my advice on anything ever.
That's weird. This is a wrestling review show.
Not anymore, love. Right.
Wait, so... Ricky, what are your hobbies? We've got 7 entire minutes to burn.
We'll
do a Ricky Rainbow 20-minute Q&A sometime. I think.
Yeah.
Entirely super chat driven.
Yeah, it's just entirely. But
oh my God! Did Ricky freeze?
My hobbies.
Or did I freeze?
Did you freeze?
Did you freeze? I don't know. I don't think
I don't think I froze.
I hope not. But you're so mysterious. I thought it might have been you.
It's possible. I might freeze and I might not. It all depends. Maybe I'll do it intentionally. Maybe I'll try and throw you off the scent. Oh, did he freeze? No, he didn't. Oh, but did he? Yes, he might have. I'm not really sure.
Intentional freeze was amazing. You're such an artist.
If nothing else, that is what I am.
This is the only thing that we're sure of about you, Ricky.
Yeah. No.
Do you watch wrestling? I should have asked.
I like to watch the wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly I'll put in old VHS tapes of the NWA in the mid 80s.
Me too, honestly.
And then also I like I like to watch the NWA currently because I like to root for Tyrus to lose.
that is the two things we know about you
Mhm.
are that you're an artist and a
Mhm.
baby face, because we're all rooting for Tyrus to lose.
Also, that I kind of hate watch the current NWA because I had a falling out with my old mate Billy Corgan
You
a while ago.
did.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I was supposed to come on tour with Smashing Pumpkins, and then I don't, for whatever reason, he decided that he didn't want me there anymore.
This is a
I think
huge scoop.
because I was going to pull all the
Upstage him.
fans around,
Of course.
because but he's got an ego on him, doesn't he? And so that's why he and I are not at all talking anymore. But I do like to watch his show and wish for its downfall.
Understandable. Well, you're definitely a wrestling fan, then. That makes sense from what we've seen. So
I would run circles around him.
Oh, 100%.
I would.
100%.
Yeah. All right. That's it
All
for
right.
me. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't mean like this interview. I mean like life. No, I'm just joking. Anyway,
This is what happened when Alex doesn't come prepared with his table trophy.
yeah, no, that's what happens. 'Cause
There's
we'll have to-
pennants on the other end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, none of us want to do this anymore, but we have to, don't we?
We do, but there's so much joy here.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
that's why you stop by.
Yeah. I mean, every
Yeah,
now
fix
and
the
then.
fun.
On
Yeah.
Tuesdays.
Mhm.
So, all right. Thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Keep cool, gabagoose.
Toodles.